Welcome. Today is Friday, October 27th, 2023. Welcome to another episode of Real Estate, Real Life, Real Talk, and Real Live with your host, Damon, the agent. Well, as you all know, I always like to start my show off talking about the latest real estate trend. So today I'm going to be talking about multifamily units. And the reason why I'm going to be talking about multifamily units is because I've been getting a lot of questions asked about certain multifamily units, and also some people wanted to invest in multifamily units. So I wanted to explain certain pros and cons when it pertains to people who are looking to invest in a multifamily unit. Now, there are some multifamilies out there right now, depending on where you are. In the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, there are multifamily, but they could be a little pricey. And I'm going to explain the pros and the cons of multifamily, and also how you can possibly get you one. Sometimes it's good to, do it individually if you're able to. If not, it's good to partner up with investment groups, and that's if you can trust the people that you're working with. So I wrote down a few things that I'm going to read, and I just want to share some things with you. The pros of a multifamily property investment: the cash flow. One of the reasons investors like multifamily property is the cash flow it generates each month. Rents are predictable, and in strong markets, units can be turned over easily and released to ensure steady cash flow year in and year out. And in some cases, a landlord slash owner can actually live in one of the units, and they can live freely while their tenants are actually paying the rent and mortgage for them. So they, on top of them getting the cash flow, they're also staying there for free. So that's a big benefit of a multifamily unit. Another thing is the passive income. Investing in multifamily real estate is a great way to generate additional income without lifting a finger. It is easy to hire a property manager who will take on the day-to-day responsibilities for you. This is particularly attractive to those who have little experience owning or managing a rental property. Now, understand that property management companies are very good when you own any type of rental property, whether it is a multifamily unit or whether it is a house or even a condo. Property management companies typically charge a percentage of the rent. It varies. So I think the minimum is 10%, depending on where you are. So if you have if you're charging $2,000 a month for your rent, understand that the property management companies are taking 10%, which will be $200, and that is for them to deal with the day-to-day responsibilities for you, so you don't have to deal with that stress or that headache. Also, valuation potential. It'll be a fool's error to believe that multifamily properties will always appreciate in value. Many investors lost their shirts during the housing market crash and collapse in 2008 and 2009. That said, who have long-term investment horizons will find that typically multifamily real estate appreciates over time and are more resilient to economic downturns. Real estate values, but over the course of multiple real estate cycles, values tend to continue to have an upward climb. And with that being said, meaning most real estate properties appreciate over time. Even though we had a housing market that crashed back in 2008, 2009, if you look at how much properties were prior to them and you look at how much properties are today, you will clearly see that properties today are priced higher than they were 10, 15 years ago. And that because the real estate tends to appreciate over time. People always ask the question, when is the market going to crash? When a price is going to go down? And I always like to give people like a small economical education and say that as long as people continue to buy, as long as people continue to earn more money, they will not go down. Now, depending on the area, because I always stress this in my podcast, that real estate is always location, location, location. That's the one thing you learn when you first get into real estate, that real estate is always location, location, location. So a lot of times you may hear me say that what's going on in DC is not the same thing as going on in Florida. What's going on in Florida is not the same as going on in California. What's going on in California is not the same as going on in Texas. So a lot of times it's easily to believe that when you look at the TV, because we have so much information now with HGTV, the media, the websites such as Redfin, Zillow, and everything. So people tend to think that everything applies everywhere, and it doesn't. That's why I always tell people, please do not do what you see on HGTV. Please always speak with a local realtor when you're doing any type of investment properties. Now, let me get back to the pros of a multifamily unit. So, also the tax benefits. Multifamily real estate is has a high tax advantage. Most investors use a mortgage to finance the property. They can take a deduction for mortgage interest paid during that fiscal year, which tends to be higher in the first years of ownership as the loan begins to amortize. Multifamily properties can then be depreciated over a 27.5-year period. Even if the property typically appreciates, depreciation can be used to offset a significant portion of the rental income collected each year, making this a highly attractive asset class for investors of all kinds. So let me summarize that for those of you, because I know it might sound a little complicated. Basically, you get a tax advantage, and all you have to do is you get to write off some of your depreciation. Now, for those who don't know, I will always stress that when you are doing your taxes, to have a good CPA, to speak to them when they ask you questions about your property. Let them know that you did have some appreciation. Let them know how much the appreciation were, if you do have any appreciation, and also let them know about the taxes that you pay on it along with your income. So you're supposed to give them all of that information anyway, but the tax benefit comes in with your tax advisor when you explain these things, because nowadays you can typically write everything off or anything off, especially when you own property. Now, let me get into some of the cons of a multifamily property. Now, like I just mentioned about the mortgage and stuff. Now, here's the thing. To finance a typical multi-unit building, it's not always the typical financing, depending on how many units are in that particular building. For example, if it is 4 or less units in the building, you can typically use a conventional loan. Conventional loans are the ones that are most used for multifamily units. If it is over 4 units, it tends to turn into a commercial transaction. So you have to actually get a commercial loan, because Fannie and Freddie Mac are the ones who tend to finance it. So it's a different type of financing depending on how many units are in the building. So a lot of times people always say, oh, I want to invest in multifamily units. You can't come with a typical FHA on that particular property, especially depending on how many units in. You can try it, but I'm just explaining that in many cases, it's not going to pass a lot of underwriting guidelines, and underwriting is the one who approves the loan finally. Conventional is the most popular one, but at the same time, if it is over 4 units, it becomes like commercialized. So you really have to have a good lender who can thoroughly explain these things to you, because it's not the same unless you are going to buy with cash, which very few people have cash. And depending on the price of the units, you know what I'm saying, it could be a little pricey, because most unit buildings are not typically cheap like houses. Most unit buildings cost slightly more than houses, because you have to understand you're generating income property in there and you can live in there. So it is much more of value than it is a typical house. You can rent out a home as well, but you in many cases won't get the same return on your investment like you would in a multifamily unit building. So that's one of the costs. That's one of the cons. Also, the cost. Depending on where you're looking to invest, multifamily properties can be really expensive. In fact, this is one of the largest barriers to entry for most investors. 2-unit apartment buildings in cities such as San Francisco, Portland, New York, or Boston can easily cost well over $1 million. Most banks will want to see the investors put down at least 20% as a down payment, if not more in some cases, especially when they check out the rent roll, the expenses, they factor in all of that. And this means in many cases, if you're dealing with $1 million property, that's around $200,000. Coming up with that cash is no easy task, like I just mentioned, and it's not an easy feat for the average investor. And that's why I also mentioned at the beginning of this is sometimes you want to partner up with other people who are like-minded and have investment, because if you own a home, you can take a HELOC out, use that money to actually get an investment property to be your down payment, and you can do a 1031 exchange. So with doing the 1031 exchange, and that means when you're taking the equity from one property and your personal investment property, as far as the taxes are concerned, you're not taxed on that. So that's another education that I'll go over another time. I'll talk about the 1031 exchange. But in doing that, coming up with that money is no easy task for the average investor. So particularly in a bull value market such as the DC area, just like I currently have a two multifamily units on the market in DC. And the two that I have on the market, because it's DC, DC has both of the units linked to one tax ID. So one unit has one building has 2 units in it. The other building has 4 units in it. So it's a total of 6 units. Now it's priced relatively low for the market. It's actually at $900,000. And I know $900,000 doesn't sound cheap, but you're talking about 2-unit buildings in DC, prime area. So like I mentioned before, that when it pertains to the down payment, single family homes are often less expensive for those looking to buy residential rental property. But as noted, single family homes have their own management challenge to consider. So also note that another con to multifamily is competition. A lot of people are like-minded. A lot of people tend to think and say the same thing. Like, for example, there are many people who want to be investors. There are many people who say, oh, I want to invest in real estate. There are people who go to these seminars. There are people who pay these thousands of dollars to get education and stuff. And then sometimes these seminars, they'll say, oh yeah, you can basically buy this and you can, get $50,000 off of this property and do this and everything. So they're selling you a dream. Okay, I'm not saying it's not reality, because it is reality for some people, but it's not a reality for all people. And this is the reason why you have to typically do your homework, and you have to study things, and you have to be surrounded by the right people, because people are easily out here trying to get your money. And when they're out here trying to get your money, your money is gone. But if you don't have anything to show a return on it, then guess what? You short. It's just like with DJ, Charlemagne the God and all them being sued now and everything, because people have invested their money and they ended up losing. So when it pertains to competition with multifamily units, you have to understand that a lot of people want the same thing that you want, especially if it's cheap. The cheaper it is, the more people who are going to want it, because it's more affordable to people. So I want you all to keep that in mind when it pertains to the cons of the multifamily. The competition is high up there. So to conclude on this, anyone who is interested in buying rental properties will certainly want to take a hard look at multifamily investments. The asset class is one that investors can begin investing in gradually, with just 2 or 4 units at a time. Some may even employ the strategy of owner occupancy through the property initially, as a way of truly living the property management lifestyle before investing in larger multifamily properties. Remember, the most important asset of real estate investing is just getting started. Investing in small multifamily property is a great way to do just that. Always start small. I don't care what you hear, how much you say or whatever, always start small. I always tell people that if you look to invest also, even a condo, start with that, because that's at the beginning. So you can start with a condo, work your way up to a townhouse, work your way up to a single family home, and then work your way up to more. But always start small. Over time, as your portfolio grows, you can sell the smaller units and roll the proceeds into larger multifamily investment opportunities that will work with the 1031 exchange, like I mentioned to you. Those with a buy and hold strategy might instead hang on to their smaller multifamily homes while the tenants pay down the mortgage and value appreciate. Eventually, these investors will be able to leverage the equity in their multifamily portfolio to invest in larger multifamily properties. Both of these tried and true approaches are how some of America's wealthiest individuals have got to where they are today, which is why in some we can't help but love the potential offered by multifamily investing. So I just wanted to go over that multifamily tidbit with you all, just to let you all know that the multifamily is a great way to get into real estate. It is a great way to build generational wealth for you and your family, it is a great way to do these things. So I just want you all to please take that into consideration whenever you are looking to do multifamily property. So my next segment is Q&A, which is questions and answers. If you have any questions, please post them now. I shall be right back in a second. All right, let me go into my Q&A section to see what questions that I may have, that people may have. Hold on. Okay, I get this question all the time. Again, interest rates. That seems to be the typical question that most people have. Everyone's always asking about the interest rates today. And let me just share this, and I always say this when it pertains to people ask about interest rate. Interest rate are not the only number you should be concerned about when it pertains to buying a home. You got to understand there are many other factors, many other numbers. Like, for example, the cost of the home. The cost of the home is a key contribution as far as uh you know what your mortgage payment is going to be. It's not just the interest rate. I think people are so stuck on interest rate because 2 years ago when interest rate were at a historically low time that people missed out on it, and at the same time they're hoping that that come back, but you got to understand that was historically low, meaning it only comes around like once in a lifetime. So you have to deal with everything else. Of course, back when we were younger, before we were born, our parents and grandparents bought homes at 22, 25, 28%. Of course, homes were cheaper, but when you factor out a lot of things as far as that, what they were paying in mortgage now is equivalent to somewhat what you're paying too. I always tell people focus on the affordability. Today's interest rate is roughly around 7%. Okay, that's today, effective October 27, 2023. It's roughly around 7%. Now, to be honest with you, about 10 years ago, I think the interest rate was around 7%, if I can remember correctly. People were still buying home, but here's the difference between then and now. The houses today are more than they were 10 years ago. So if you only be stuck on the interest rate, you're going to miss out, because by the time the interest rate drops, what's going to happen is the prices are going to be much higher, and then affordability is going to go out the window. So that's why it's always best to buy real estate and then wait, instead of waiting and then buy real estate, because you're going to end up paying more later on. So you want to look at the affordability of things. And then as your home gains equity and increases, what tends to happen is you can always refinance when the interest rate does go down, and you also will gain equity in your home. So it's about being smarter, not just about, what's the interest rate? Because to be truthful, most of the people who ask about the interest rate do not have A1 credit. So when you're talking about the interest rate, whatever you see, 7%, those are people for A1 credit. If you don't have A1 credit, your interest rate is going to be slightly higher. And let me give you a good example. It's like when you see TV commercials and you see car commercials on TV, and you always see it says 0%. It says 0%. And then it say put a 2,500 down or 5,000 down. And then when you go to get a car, you're paying a 16% interest rate because your credit wasn't A1 credit. But guess what? You drive off with that car, and you still make those payments regardless of what they are, because of the fact is your credit plays a huge factor. So instead of worrying about the interest rate, I think people should focus more on affordability than anything, because that is what is going to come down to, the affordability. Let me see if I got any more questions. Okay. Let me see. All right, let me see. Okay, let me see. Okay. Let me check out. I got another question. I just actually have to get to it. I'm sorry. All right. I'm thinking about buying, but I don't have any money to put down, and my credit is not that good. What can I do? Please help. Again, they say I'm thinking about buying. I have no money to put down, and my credit is not that good. What can I do? Well, here's what most people can do. You have to come up with a plan, okay? You don't have any money, your credit's not good, but you want to buy. The first thing you should work on is your credit, okay? Work on your credit first, because you can have money to put down, but if your credit is shot, lenders are not going to give you a loan. Or it can be reversed. You can have good credit, but no money to put down. But because you have good credit, sometimes there are programs in place to help you. Now, you have to put something down. You can always get a gift from a relative. You can get a gift from a relative or friend, and then you can move forward with purchasing a home. But begin with your credit. I know it's tedious work, but because you have no money to put down, you have to do the work, because you put yourself in that situation where your credit is messed up. So contact all 3 credit bureaus. I'm going to post it right here on my link. Contact all 3 credit bureaus. When you contact all 3 credit bureaus, they're going to send you your report. Now, every year you get a free report, credit report. Contact all of them. Pay for your score. Please pay for your score. When you pay for your score, you'll know exactly what your score is. Once you do that, I always tell people, typically anything that's over 2 years, contest. I don't care if it's yours. Just contest it with the credit bureau. The reason why I say that is because they have to respond within 30 days. If they do not respond within 30 days, they will automatically drop whatever you're contesting off of your credit report. Don't get me wrong. Don't get too hyped, because sometimes they will respond within 2 weeks. So it ain't going to take them always over 30 days. But sometimes things slip through the cracks, and you may get by. If you have a whole bunch of items on it, you'll be surprised. Some things will drop off, and you'll be shocked. I did this myself, and this is why I'm telling you. I did this myself probably like about 15 years ago, and I owed, at the time, Nextel. I knew I owed Nextel. They were on my credit report. I contested it. When I contested it, it ended up coming off, and I was like, wow. But it was because Nextel did not respond back in a timely manner. So contest everything on there that's over 2 years. Once that final report comes back to you, look at that. Then from there, if your credit is down, see what's keeping you down. There are many factors that keep our credit scores down. It's late payments, it's missed payments, it's collections, all these things. See what's on your credit report and then work on those things. And then if you need help with a credit repair specialist, I have one. I had a lady come on my podcast a couple of weeks ago, Benita Grant. You know, I can always give you her information. Just DM me, inbox me. I'll give you her information to help you out. Plus, I know credit repair specialists throughout the United States. I have a great one who's in Florida. She's in Miami, Florida. I have one that's in Boston. I have one in this area, Bonita, in DC, Maryland, Virginia. I have great credit specialists that can help you, talk to you, guide you through the process. So these are the things you need to do. Then you need to also look at the area that you're looking to buy in, because you don't have any money. So to see what programs are involved, if you need to contact me, I can direct you to a good lender, because the lenders are the ones who are always up to par on the latest program. They'll see what programs you may qualify for. And then, like I said, you have to have some money to put down when you're actually buying a home. And then once once everything is analyzed, your credit is analyzed, once your finances is analyzed with the lender, then we can determine what will be the next step for you. Everyone is different. Everyone has their own DNA. So every situation is going to be different, but we have to have a conversation to determine exactly what your situation is, because like I said, everyone's situation is different. So those are the things you would need to do in order to possibly buy in the near future. So let me see if I have any more questions. Hold on. Okay. All right. Okay, so no more questions. I'll be right with my title of today, which is called Slow Progressing. And I want to explain that. All right. Thank you. I'd like to always thank everyone for joining me. Please make sure that you are following me on all social media platforms. I do have them posted and listed up here. Now, my topic of the day is slow progress is better than no progress. Now, the reason why I want to talk about this is because I was holding a conversation with one of my daughters recently, and she was just, first of all, thanking me for just always being there for her. And she was telling me how she's stressed out at times and things that go on. And she know that we're all dealing with our own things. And I was just explaining to her that, in life, life is going to life everyone. Everyone goes through life. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be perfect and everything. But here's the things that I shared with her that I'm going to share with you. And I think I've mentioned this to you all before. Every day that you wake up, there are two things that are more important than money. Okay, there are really three, but I'm going to talk about the two most important. If you wake up with your sanity and you wake up with your good health, you are already winning the day. And that's what I explained to her. Because let me explain something to you. No matter how much money you have, nothing can replace your sanity and nothing can replace your good health. So I always gave her the stress. I also gave her the example of Robin Williams, the comedian. He had money, but he committed suicide. I also gave her the example of Steve Jobs, the person who invented the iPhone. He had all this money, but he lost his health and passed away. So if you have those two, you are already winning, because there are many people who are sitting in the hospital every day, can't leave. You know, as long as you're moving forward in life, you are progressing. As long as you're trying, you are progressing. As long as you're putting forth an effort, you are progressing. See, this thing called life gets to all of us at times. But understand that slow progress is better than no progress. And sometimes when you're overwhelmed and you're stressed, sometimes it's just best to just stop and rest. Take a nap. Because you can't have a clear thought. You can't, understand that a nap refreshes and rejuvenates you, when you've gone through a lot, because there are some things that are just simply out of your control. They're out of our control. There's nothing that you can do about it. But what you can do is try to relieve yourself of stress. What you can do about it is try to understand that you're already doing well. Because here's the thing, no matter where you're at financially, money gonna come, money gonna go throughout your lifetime. You're gonna have a lot. Sometimes you're not gonna have enough. That's just life. Money's going to come, money's going to go. But your health, you cannot stress yourself to the point that it affects your health, because your health is the most important wealth along with your sanity. See, people do not seem to really understand that concept. Your sanity and your health are the things when you wake up, guess what? You've already won. You won. People in the hospital right now, people in the grave, people in mental institution right now, people losing their mind because they don't have their sanity, they don't have their health. And then here's the thing: there are people out there who got all the money in the world, and they don't have their sanity or their health. And if you had all the money in the world and something happened to you mentally, your family gonna be fighting over the money. Something happened to you till you get sick in the hospital. Sometimes the people you think love you is gonna go pull the plug on you, just like in that movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman, by Tyler Perry, when the guy threw his wife out and he got another girlfriend, and then the girlfriend was trying to pull the plug on him when he got shot, but his wife had to stop and tell the doctors to do everything to save it. See, sometimes what you have to understand in life is everyone is going through something, whether you realize it or not. Some people are faking. You go on Instagram, Facebook, you'll see that everybody's living this great lifestyle. They taking pictures on vacation. They taking pictures when they out to eat. They taking pictures when they, so-called in love with their spouses and everything. And behind closed door, they fighting with their spouse and they sleeping in separate rooms. And they also sleeping with other people that's not their spouses. And then you also see that, they went on these trips and everything, but they ain't paid none of their bills. They in the negative. They about to lose their home, about to get evicted. See, in life, people and then with social media, I always tell people put on social media what they want you to see. They put you on there what they want you to see. No one's telling going to show you the negativity that's going on in their life. No one's going to show you that. Everything goes on with everyone. I go through things all the time. So what I'm saying to you all is understand that with life, there's going to be struggles. But guess what? Your struggle is not as bad as another person's struggle. Yes, life can be better, but life can also be worse. Because what you got to understand is this: people are stressing about bills, people are stressing about work, but you got your health. Because there are people without arms hands, just in Palestine, they beheading women and children, people are dying, Ukraine, people are dying, people at war. We live in this country, this great country, and what's going on in this country, we stressing about things. The other country got way much bigger problems than we do because we're focused on the wrong thing. Yes, life gets tough. Yeah, sometimes it may be more bills than money. But here's the thing, like I mentioned to you, your health and your sanity, the most important thing. And also, if you have any loved ones around you that are genuine and care for you, those people are, oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm so, I'm sorry. I got a phone call on my, I'm sorry. I got a phone call on my phone. But yeah, if you have people around you that are genuine, those people are important because the memories you make on this in your lifetime are the most important thing. See, it's not always what you have and everything. It's the memory that you have, the people that you can share these memories with, as long as you have your sanity and your good health. Slow progress is better than no progress because some people are not progressing at all. Some people are not moving forward. Some people are moving backwards. And some people will never get as fast as you will because they're focused on the wrong thing. It's just like the turtle and the hare. And the turtle outbeat the hare. The turtle was going slow because they were progressing. And I actually was speaking to someone yesterday and we were talking about traffic. And I was explaining to them I was in McLean, Virginia, and the traffic out there around Tyson area during rush hour is terrible. And she was telling me about the traffic in Waldorf. And I told her, here's the thing. I'll take the traffic in Waldorf over the traffic in Virginia. The reason why is I explained this to her. When you come on the ramp, it is backed up going all the way around. And it's only moving at 3 to 5 miles per hour. When you go down Branch Avenue towards Waldorf, that's moving at least 15, 20 miles per hour. Even though 15, 20 miles per hour is slower than 60 and 70 miles per hour, that is way faster than 3 to 5 miles per hour. And it's moving. It is progressing compared to the one in Tyson's where you come off the ramp and it's backed up going all the way on the ramp on the streets. It is unheard of. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you is you can be on the ramp and jammed in traffic, not moving because that's some people's life. Or you can be progressing slowly. And yeah, you want to be going more faster than what you are, but you're moving forward. So instead of looking at the negativity, which is I know it's hard because when things are right in front of you, it's hard to focus on what's positive. It's hard to focus on, everything that's going right with you. But again, if you can stand up, look in the mirror, got your reflexes, your health, and you ain't lost your mind because this world can sure drive you crazy and people can also drive you crazy. If you can do all these things, you are already winning every day. And please know that every day you wake up, somebody who woke up yesterday has now woken today. Every day people pass away. Every day people are born. Please understand, slow progress is better than no progress. And you are progressing and continue to progress and continue to get up and continue to thrive. Because here in life, what you want to do is you want to thrive. You want to continue to thrive. Because some people, they just survive. So as long as you're getting up, you're already winning the day. Like I said before, you are already winning the day. So please keep that in mind, people. Slow progress is better than no progress. Now, let me do my summary of the day, and I shall be right back. All right, I'm going to do a recap real quick. Multifamily units, pros and cons. Pros is you can get passive income. You can also, generate, you can stay in the property and also don't have to pay any rent while you're getting that passive income, earn money, and at the same time earn equity. Cons is the cash coming up to getting that can sometimes be difficult depending on the number of units that you are getting. It also can somewhat be difficult as far as getting financing, but it can be done. It can be done. Just speak with the right people and you can always get a multifamily unit. So, and then also my recap with slow progress is better than no progress. My thing is, though, when it pertains to life, y'all, as long as you wake up every day and you have your sanity and you have your health, you are already winning. And right there alone, you are already progressing. And regardless of what goes on or doesn't go on in that day, just know that you have won the day already. And everything else that turns out is really up to you how your day goes. Because in life, we all have challenges, we all face them. But here's the thing, there are some who are going through much worse than us. Look at the people in Ukraine, look at the people in Palestine. You know, life may be tough for us, but it's tougher for them. You know, life is hard, but anything that's worth it is going to be tough, regardless if it's life, whether it's business, whether it's relationship, whether it's anything. Anything that's worth it is not going to come easy. It's not meant to be easy. That's just life. But I'm just here to share my thoughts with you all, and I hope that you appreciate me sharing my thoughts. Again, if you have any questions when it pertains to real estate or anything else, please feel free to contact me. You can always reach me, contact me, direct message me. Also, please follow me on all my social media platforms, which is normally listed at the bottom. I'm on every social media platform as Damon the Agent, which is Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I'm on all of them. So please follow me. And I'm licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Always willing to help you with your real estate needs. Been doing it for over 18 plus years. I thank you all for joining me each and every Friday at noon. I pray that you'll have a great weekend, and please be safe out there trick-or-treating over the weekend and going to those Halloween parties. Be safe, have fun, and remember, you've already won the day. I thank you all again. You all have a great weekend.